guys, and welcome to my studio. I'm Jessie and this is the Knit Up and Dye podcast. This is my new friend Purl. Purl will be hanging out with me in my studio going forward. Isn't she lovely? I'm very proud of Purl. Take a nap, love. There you go. So happy holidays. Like I said, no matter what holiday you celebrate, I hope that you are having a fantastic day with friends, with family, or simply by yourself doing something you love. I am in my studio today for a little while, and then I'm going to go hang out with my husband for the rest of the day, and we're going to play vintage video games and eat horrible, horrible things and enjoy our time together. But the little bit of time that I have in the studio, I'd like to share with you. So this is going to be really unscripted and just off the cuff today, and I hope you all understand that I wanted to reach out and spend time with you rather than sitting down and having a very structured kind of thing. But I am going to share hopefully a technique with you as well as a little bit of personal time. And to begin, we're going to do a little time warp, and we're going to go back in time to the beginning of December. And I'll see you after our time travel. Alright everybody, I have a quick time warp video for you. You've gone back in time and now you're seeing me in early December. Ooh. I designed a pattern this year, specifically as a Christmas gift for somebody who I care very much about. This is a pattern that has been a long time coming. I have been working to design something for this person for longer than I care to admit to. Nothing ever just seemed right. I had a cowl in mind, I had a scarf in mind, I had a hat in mind. At one point I looked at doing fingerless mitts. But when it all boiled down, after years of playing with different designs for this person, it really was socks that she enjoyed most of my knitting. And so for my sister Rachel this year, I designed a sock pattern. And I'm going to get all verklempt, but You'll follow along, you'll be okay. This pattern is going to be released very soon. It has already been test knit. Thank you, Jerry. Thank you, Bex. You guys are wonderful. I really appreciate all your help and all your notes. When I knit the pattern, I knit it in a yarn that I knew my sister was going to love. And it's in her colors. It is in a beautiful jewel mix with teals and greens and blues and little dashes of purple. And unfortunately, this sock, as beautiful as it is, and as much as she's going to love it, isn't going to show up well on the camera. You're not going to be able to see the stitches well. And I knew that going into it. I knew that it was really more about the yarn for this particular sock than the pattern. But it gave me an opportunity to test the pattern before I went whole hog on it and did it in a yarn that we could see that she would also enjoy. She received 2 pairs of socks this year, or she will. She did by the time you saw this, but right now she hasn't got them yet. I have. Anyway, oh, I just had like this whole tear in the time-space continuum. Anyway, so here are the socks, hopefully in a color that the camera's going to pick up better. She received 2 pairs, like I said. Purple is a great color on my sister. I wish I could wear it. It doesn't look good on me. It looks fabulous on her. But I want to hold this up so that you can see the design a little bit better. It is just a lovely lace pattern. It has kind of an interesting stitch in it this time that I don't normally use, where it's like a mock cable, except instead of doing 2 steps where you bind off a stitch in one row and then do your yarn over in the next row, it does it all at once. So as you're coming across, you lift a stitch over and off, and then you knit yarn over knit on the 2 remaining 3 stitches being worked. I probably lost you completely there. Anyway, so this pattern was designed with my sister in mind. She will be receiving these for Christmas. They are wool socks, and she will get to use them all winter long in her job where she works with the Maine Adaptive Sports Foundation, helping individuals with a variety of disabilities and just challenges, life challenges, learn to do a number of other sports. She's a very giving, very intelligent, very wonderful person. These are
for her. So, Rachel, here they come. You already have them. Anyway, this will be a kit. These are going to be available. You will be able to find the pattern on Ravelry in the very near future. And I just need to keep that surprise for a little bit longer for her. Thank you so much for traveling in time with me. I'll talk to you later. Bye.
So clearly that meant a lot to me. I have been trying to design a pattern for my sister for probably better part of 10 years now. And it has been cowls and scarves and all kinds of things. And this one stitch design really spoke to me. This pattern will be available in the very near future for you. I do have a couple of notes that I'm still working out from my test knitters, but I will have the Rachel socks out to you very soon, and I hope that you love them as much as I loved making them. I did some dyeing this week. If you've been following me on Instagram, you saw some previews of some new colors coming out. I have a couple of them here to show you, and I'm going to use one of them to show you a rewinding technique, just so that you can see how colors lay differently when we wind them away from the original layout of how we dyed the yarn. So we'll start with this one because it's my favorite. I think I'm calling this Heirloom Tomatoes. I have this dyed to my salsa base. This is a worsted weight yarn. Isn't that gorgeous? It's like hot tomato soup from Heirloom Tomatoes. There are oranges in there. There are reds in there. There are corals in there. It's rusty and warm and wonderful. Very excited about this colorway. I think this would just make the most gorgeous sweater. I'm super, super excited about it. These will be going up in the shop very soon, and grab them while you can. Do keep in mind, if you ever see something in my shop that you would like more of, or you'd like it dyed to a different base, contact me. I do custom orders all the time. If you need extra yardage for a sweater and just aren't seeing enough yardage there, or if you see something that, well, it was on lace weight but you'd like it on worsted, or it was on worsted and you'd like it on sock, holler. I'm happy to help you. Heirloom Tomatoes. Love that color. Then I came up with this. I was feeling kind of pumpkin-y again. Just thinking about pumpkin pie and lattes, and I came up with this. This is on my Stellina, my disco sock base. It is a Stellina. There is some silver sparkle going on in here. There is this beautiful orange, there are creams, there is some rust, and there's kind of a green straw tone, like fresh wheat. Isn't that lovely? I am super proud of this color. Very excited. I had so much fun dyeing the other day. I did all kinds of dyeing, and I really focused on getting some of my Stellina base out to you. We haven't had Stellina in stock in a while, and it's a little extra twinkle in your day, even if it's only on a pair of socks and nobody else sees them. It's that little kick of something magical that just makes your project special. Love this. This got all kinds of attention on Instagram. If you saw it on Instagram, I'm sure you'll recognize it here. Look at that. We have teals, we have vibrant violet blues, we have some light blues, and we have some snowy silver gray. Again, all on that Stellina base. This will helix when you knit it for a sock, so the colors will chase each other going around your sock. Just lovely. There's some beautiful, beautiful blends. I'm going to pop this one open for you so that you can see it a little bit better. Let's see if I can hold this in a way that you can really enjoy these colors. not sure how well the camera's picking it up. I'm still getting used to the new camera, folks, but we'll get there eventually. I just love this. This color makes me happy. I have no idea what I'm naming it yet. It'll pop in later. Sometimes the name of the color just doesn't come to me yet. It's what I wanted it to be. It's what I was aiming for it to be, but I didn't have a name in mind when I designed it. So we'll see. And if you have any clever ideas, send me a message. There's that again, all twisted up. And last but not least, snow. First snow. Again, on the stellina base, the palest, most subtle silver gray, plus that stellina sparkle. Really, really dovey, lightly tonal. Very excited about this. This will make somebody very happy. I know that subtle grays are not easy to find. Beautiful, beautiful color. I am always so thrilled by what comes out of the pot. You just never know if it's going to come out the way you want it to or not. Sometimes you have happy accidents and they do other wonderful things. Other times you get exactly what you hoped for. Tuck all these aside. And I said last but not least, but I lied. I have this colorway. I'll hold that up for you. This is a blend of a gold and a green and a beautiful rich purple. I'm going to open this up so you can see how it lays on the skein. These colors just blended together beautifully. Again, I'm very excited by the way they came out. I'm going to use this skein to show you how re-skeining it changes your perception of the yarn. When you look at this yarn, I'll hold it up like this, you can see how I had it folded over when I painted it for you. The greens line up, the purples line up, the golds line up. It was actually in the pot just like that. See how everything lines up? That's not how it's going to knit up. When you're knitting this, unless you're knitting it in the round with exactly enough stitches for this to work out exactly to the size of this skein loop, it won't look like this ever again. It's beautiful. The colors are all isolated and grouped together so that you can see them nicely. But what's it going to look like if you knit it back and forth? What's it going to look like if you knit it in the round with more or less stitches than this? It's going to jumble up. That can be horrible or that can be an absolute delight. What we want to do today is we want to throw this through my re-skeining system so that those colors do jumble up, so that you get a better idea of what they look like when they're all mixed together. That is why when we hank these for you, we have a tendency to twist them up with different colors showing at different intervals so that you can see all the colors as blended as we can get them without re-skeining. Examples of this are these two. If you look at the top round of this, you'll see that I pulled it up so that there's blue up, the light teal. When you look down here, you see how I've twisted it so that the silver and the violet interplay with each other so that you can see those two colors against each other. If you look at a different skein, you'll see that I altered how I folded it before I twisted it so that I could show you the teal and the violet interplay and the teal and the silver interplay. When you look at a whole bustle of yarns all together on display in the store, they're twisted up differently on purpose so that you can see those interplay of colors without us having to re-skein them. Why don't we re-skein them every time? It's labor intensive. and I'm going to show you that in just a second. I would love to reskein them all the time, but it is a lot of work. It is quite literally turning one skein into a skein by hand with a crank. I try to reskein when I have time, just to photograph it so that you see that interplay of colors. I want ultimately for you to not have any major surprises. You should always be delighted. You should always be surprised that the yarn is as glorious as you wanted or better than you wanted. But I don't ever want surprises where you get something and go, I didn't know there was navy in that. My photography is always done with that in mind so that you can see all the colors. And I'm going to take you over and reskein now so that you can see that. Come with me. So here I am over on my skeiners. This is my umbrella swift. This is also an umbrella swift, but it's mounted horizontally so that I can turn this crank handle here and reskein yarn as needed. There is a crank right here on the end. This one does not have any kind of a crank. These are more common. These are a little bit harder to find. This particular swift can mount horizontally or it can mount vertically. Either works. For reskeining though, I find that it's better to have tension on the opposing angle so that it doesn't bunch up so much. It is a slower process because I am having to turn and draw from the other skein. But let's go ahead and get that done. So one of the things I noticed immediately when I started to go and cut off the threads holding the skein nice and neat and clean was that the leading yarn is coming off of the front side of this. When I draw this to reskein it, I need it to come off the back so that it's in alignment with my reskeiner. So I'm going to flip this around real quick for you. Just the same as when I'm winding yarn, I want to make sure that this is flowing freely and that the yarn is drawing from the outside and isn't tangled. I'm going to take this and tie a really simple knot just so that it's got something holding it on. Not too tight, I'm going to have to untie it later. And away we go. The winding swift has been set with the same approximate size opening as the yarn swift that I'm drawing from. It is going to differ slightly. That tiny difference, even if it's only a centimeter, will be enough to change the interplay of the yarn colors and show you what the yarn's going to look like a little bit closer to what it'll look like knit up. Perfect, we're all wound up. Before I take this off the Swift, before I collapse the umbrella, I'm going to want to tie this to keep it as neat as possible so that when you ball this later, it doesn't explode, it's not a knot, it's not a big mess. Let me get some string. Now's a great time to show you how these get tied. Let me pull you in for a close-up. When tying through a skein, you're going to want to divide the skein at least in half, simply by putting your finger through the middle. Wrap the yarn through around one end and bring it through. Whoops, there we go. I give this a double twist so that it's not pulling things from the front to the back, and draw it through and around to the other side. A simple twisting knot and you're good to go. Don't tie it too tightly. Ultimately, we don't want to put pressure on our yarns. Pressure and tightness can cause breakage and damage. That's it. That's all you need to know. I try to put it in 3 whenever I'm tying it up, just so that there's nice even spacing and so that everything stays nice and neat. Alright, this lead here is the outside end, and I'm going to tie it in with this end, but I want to look for the initial knot. I see it way back down here, so we're going to tie it in with the next one. All I'm going to do is retie this knot with that lead in place. Now you have that end neatly attached. Down here is where I tied the initial knot to keep my yarn winding onto the umbrella Swift. I might have gotten a little bit too much tension there, so I need to get that separated so that I can tie it off. I don't ultimately want to cut it. Every last inch of your yarn counts, and I'm sure some of you have played yarn chicken at least once, where you were down to the last 6 inches of a skein to finish a project. At the same time, I don't want to pick at it so much that I damage the yarn either. Here we go. Perfect. I'm going to come down here and I'm going to tie it in with another stay. So now my skein has been all neatly tied. I'm going to go ahead and release it and take it off the umbrella. Alright, we're back from rewinding. Isn't that remarkably different? Let me twist this up so you can take a look. The only other way that you can really see this interplay is when you cake your yarn. And caking does the same thing. It spreads out the colors differently and aligns them differently with each other so that you can really see that interplay. But we don't always have the option of caking it before we buy it. this is what the skein looked like before we re-skeined it. Wow, what a difference. Your view of how these knit up together is suddenly very, very different. I find when I re-skein, it really helps me decide whether I like the yarn or not. Sometimes colors look really pretty, twisted up in the hank all grouped together, and don't look as beautiful when they're mixed, or look so much better. I think this is just stunning. Such an interplay, so much more of an idea of the different shades. Suddenly I can see that there are, oh gosh, dozens of shades of green, dozens of shades of purple that I didn't really see quite as well here. When they're grouped together, your eyes lie to you, and it says, oh, this is green. It doesn't necessarily say, this is 50 shades of green. Whereas this, your eye is looking at so many things at once that it doesn't allow it to group things together and determine that there's only 3-4 colors involved, but suddenly there's hundreds of colors involved. Very exciting. So I'm glad I got to demonstrate the re-skeining for you so that you could see the difference in skeins and see how colors line up differently. Oh, I have something else I can show you. Coming soon. I'm working on making some new men's hat patterns. I think that this is an area that people really, especially during the holidays, we want to knit for our men, but not every man's going to wear a sweater. Not every man is going to wear mittens. Not every man is going to wear a scarf. But just about every man at one point or another is going to need a hat. This is James. James will be coming along shortly to you, probably in January. It's just a light skull cap shape, some very, very simple, elegant lines added. It does have the option of rolling up. Simple rib, simple stockinette with a star top that lays quite flat and rounded versus nippling up. This has not been blocked. This is quite literally straight off the needles this morning, and I am proud as punch of this. I think James will make a lovely hat for a gentleman, maybe somebody you know. So that's it. We got to look at re-skeining. You get a preview peek at James. You get to time warp with me. You get to spend a little bit of my holiday with me. And I can't wait to see you all next week. Don't forget, any yarn purchase from now until January 1st, you get that complimentary copy of the Fancy Foot Bags, the 5-sock pattern collection. And all you have to do is make sure that you leave me your email or your Ravelry name when you place your order, and I'll get that collection right out to you. To those of you that already have it, happy sock knitting, and I will see you all next week. Bye.